Hello and welcome to Confetti Chat, where we take you talking down the aisle and waffling about weddings. My name's James from James Douglas Films. I've got with me Frankie from Pink Photographics, and today's special guest, we'll call you a special guest, is Vicky from Inviting Writing. Now, Vicky, I don't know how to introduce you and your business.
Okay.
Because there's lots of sides.
Broad, isn't it?
There's lots of facets to it. It's because you get people that make stationery that I know I would call stationers. You know, you'd get people that do venue dressing. I would call, venue stylists. That's what I would call those guys. But obviously, you kind of move around in all of those. What's the word I'm looking for?
Okay, so I'm a calligrapher is probably the easiest way of describing what I do. Although, yeah, you're right, I do get involved in quite a bit.
So, calligrapher, fancy writing?
I write fancy.
Right.
I use a pen or a brush to write letters, basically, and, well, write words. Signage, but also when we're talking about weddings, wedding stationery, so place cards, but invites as well, anything like that. So anything where you could use a font, you could also consider using me.
Okay, so let me think about that from the start, from the moment a couple gets engaged through to the actual wedding day. In my head, I'm going to try and see if I can identify all of the opportunities you've got. So,
like a new game, okay.
Yeah. So
and also, this might help me as well, because it might help me develop like what I'll be like, oh, I've not thought about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, come on then, Frankie, let's go. I'm going to go, so, save the date.
Yeah.
Oh, the general invitation.
Save the date, invitation, so both of these pre-wedding. Then on the day, here we go, welcome sign.
Name thingies, what
Place
they're called.
names.
Place names.
Place names.
Yeah, place settings.
Table plan.
Order of the day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well done.
We're cooking.
Tell me when you want me to help.
Like a cake.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
have the flavours of the cake and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, like that.
Yeah, I've got one. Bride on the left, groom on the right sign, sitting for the ceremony, or the other one that says, "We don't care where you sit."
Yeah.
Signs.
We love you all. Yeah, yeah.
What's the phrase? There's always a phrase.
I don't think that's the good phrase.
We don't care where
I might not be
you sit.
writing that one.
No.
Maybe, make it nicer, but yeah.
Pick a seat, not a side.
Pick a seat, not a side. Good.
Yeah.
What are the other? Surely.
Oh, like the "Here Comes Mummy" signs at the.
I've never
kids.
actually done one of those before. Nobody's asked me to do one of those, so yeah.
Hint, people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here comes mummy. There's the ones for ring bearer.
And like reserved
signs.
Reserved signs on the seats.
The ring bearer. Like.
Again,
child.
those are two things that I've never done.
The security cases that kids have. Yep.
So, I'm running out of ideas now.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, and then afterwards you've got like the thank you notes, thank you cards.
Yes, of course. Wedding this way signs. Just a general wedding this way.
Yes.
You're gonna have to.
You could be like a
You're
little
gonna have
bit
to chime in, Vicky.
car park, toilets.
To be honest, so with the reserve signs, I think I've never done those before. I did them for my own wedding, but I've never actually done them for anybody else's wedding until I've now got a wedding who want me to do reserve signs. I have been at weddings on the morning of the wedding where I've seen people write on a piece of paper with a Sharpie reserved, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you've spent all this money like on this beautiful day, and then you've got a Sharpie written sign. Obviously, that doesn't float my boat, unfortunately, but it's something that I can definitely do. I have actually got a wedding coming up where they're having an outdoors wedding, and I'm doing tags with ribbon that they're attaching to the chairs, because they're getting married at the coast, so might be a bit breezy, so we're tying them to the chairs. The only other thing I could think of was, various signage. There's lots of signs that you can have, but table numbers.
Okay. Oh, that's an obvious one we missed.
And table names as well, because I personally really like it when people add a bit of personality to their wedding. And
yes.
So they name it after, I don't know, places that they've been.
Yeah.
Bands that they've seen, that's what Joe and I did for our wedding.
Lovely.
Bands that we'd seen together, that's what we named
Frankie,
our
did you have a
tables.
theme for your?
Yes.
Go on.
So we had a mixture. So half the tables were Star Wars characters, because Lee's a bit of a Star Wars geek, and half the tables were designer shoes. So some of the girls, like all my friends from back home, were on the Jimmy Choo table, and then there was Lee's family were on like the Boba Fett table and stuff like that. So
The what?
Boba Fett.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know Star Wars either, but I just know that that's Lee's favourite character. So
I know, I really like that when you add a bit of personality to the wedding. It makes it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
Ours was a map of Paris, our table plan,
I love that.
and every table had a Parisian street sign of whichever street,
that's fun.
and then there was like a bit of string taking
pointed
you
to
linking you to that, and
really
then on the back of the street sign it explained why
Love
that street was relevant for
that's
our
lovely.
wedding, our theme. Oh yeah.
The one thing I have seen, thinking about that, with if people just name their table numbers, I've seen it where they've kind of done table 1 but taken a picture of them a
When they
year
were
into
one.
their relationship,
Oh,
or
when
you
they're
could do
one,
it when
yeah.
they were 1.
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah.
that's quite nice. Adds
Yeah.
adds the personality without having to, think of 8 or 10 or 12, depending on how many tables you've got, different things that kind of mean something to you. But I quite like your mixing of the two,
half and
Star
half.
Wars and shoes.
Yeah.
So, if a couple comes to you with their wedding plan, what are you going to say to them? Like, do you present them with a load of things and go, "This is what we can do. This is what we can do," or does it generally work the other way around, where they say, "We would like something"? Which way? What normally happens?
I think what normally happens is that people come to me and say, "This is what we would like. This is what we're thinking of," and then I always try and sort of make them know that, well, I could also do this and do that. But yeah, people tend to have an idea of what they want, or they've seen something that I do. So, for example, now one of my speciality things to do is mirror signage. So, welcome signs and table plans on mirrors. People have got to kind of know that that's one of my things that I really like to do, and they might not necessarily know that I do invitations and things like that. They might just think that I only do that. So I try and make things like my Instagram sort of all-inclusive. But we have forgotten something. Personalised shoes.
Oh yes, I've even shot. I've even shot one of yours.
Speaking about shoes as well.
Yeah. So, in terms of a couple planning, obviously we did that massive whistle stop tour list of things.
Yeah.
I would imagine that, like you said, you've kind of got a reputation in terms of the mirrors and that work, and that might lead you into invites and other things. In terms of the invites, and I'm thinking that's a lot of work. Like that's if somebody has said to me, "Oh, here you go and write 100 of these by hand," I would be cramping.
Well, yeah, there would be
massively,
that.
and that would take me a massive amount of time. I would probably spell a few things wrong.
I was about to say I'd be scared of spellings because you can't spell check your own handwriting, can you?
I'm always scared of spellings. So that's where I think possibly that I could have a bit of help if anyone knows any marketing people out there to help me with, because the thing with calligraphy is that you can digitise it.
Yeah.
So for things like invitations, I actually do a lot of printed work. So it starts off as calligraphy, maybe mixed with a few fonts, because potentially calligraphy, it can be a little like if you got an invitation that was full calligraphy, it might be a bit like, whoa.
Like you're invited to like Henry VIII's wedding or something, with all like the full on fancy.
Yeah, exactly. So I tend to, yeah, absolutely.
Imagine his calligrapher. Not again.
Oh God.
I love
my God, can you just imagine like
6 times. What are you going to do to the next one?
But this time I want it to be even more elaborate. Okay, carry on. Oh my God.
No, I have actually done one set of invitations that were completely fully handwritten, and I probably won't ever want to do that again, thanks, because wow.
Reassessing all your life choices.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reassessing my life choices when I was doing that set. No, they did look amazing, but you know, it ridiculously time consuming. Yeah. It does take a long time. So for invitations and things like that, and also I don't just restrict myself to people in this area. So you know, nationwide or even worldwide if you really wanted, but I'm not going to go that far. I do printed stuff as well, so printed signage, printed stationery, and invitations are obviously, well not obviously, but invitations are printed as well. So they start off with a bit of calligraphy in a digitised format with a bit of font, and then they're printed in the colours that the couple would like. And the lovely thing about that is that then if you do go down that route, your theme can kind of go through. So I've done recently some illustrations on some invites, and then we've taken the same illustrations and put them on the table plan and on the welcome sign and everything. So it was all really, it all just flowed together, which was really, really lovely.
In practical terms, because obviously I'm always about the practical questions.
Absolutely.
I laugh so much this, like literally he's so practical, and I'm really not.
So the practical, what sort of time, because obviously there's a time factor here, just you know, I mean, just getting things printed in time.
Yeah.
How long in advance do you need to be booked? Like, if somebody said, "I've got a wedding tomorrow," this,
like, sorry,
no, you can't help. So that would be, I think, fall under the heading of unreasonable.
Yeah.
So what is reasonable? What's a sensible time frame for your?
Well, to be honest, I really try not to kind of put people off by saying I'm fully booked, because I always like to try and help if I can. I have had people who've come to me and gone, "We've ordered this online, it's 3 times smaller than we thought it was going to be, can you help us?" It's like, yes, I can, absolutely. So I don't really like to be one of those people that kind of goes, "Oh, I'm fully booked until..."
And I suppose it depends on
what the job is.
Of the
like
job,
if you've got 10 place cards and you need them for tomorrow, actually I might be able to help you, and like no printer's going to be able to turn that around, whereas you know actually potentially I could. So please don't come to me tomorrow, people. They might just send me into orbit. Please don't. But I've had lots of people ask me this recently, like, how long do people book you in advance? And honestly, the answer is 3 weeks to 2 years.
Okay.
Some people come to me with, "Oh my goodness, 3 weeks time," and other people are super duper organised and they're like, "We've booked our venue, we know we want you, and it's 2 years away." Typically, I have like a 4-week turnaround. Okay. So I like people to get in touch before that, just because.
Also, you want them to check that they like it and as well, and go they're happy with everything.
And the thing is also that actually, if you book me, I don't get you to tell me about the nitty-gritty until much nearer the time. So some people, I think, are put off by the fact that they think, "Oh, well, we really want you to do something, but we don't know if we want our wedding welcome sign to be on a piece of wood or on a pallet or
we haven't got
on a mirror, and we don't know the times and all that." That's fine, because actually, like with table plans, typically, if you're doing a mirror table plan, for example, or on a piece of wood or something, I actually write them the day before the wedding.
Right.
But that's not because they've booked me the day before the wedding.
Yes, of course.
They've booked me well in advance. I know that on that Friday I will be writing that table plan and it's booked. So,
and because by that time there's no point in doing the table plan weeks in advance, because there's going to be some drama, isn't there? There's going to be people that cancel or that you fall out with or something. So you're going to have to redo it or
And actually that's one of the benefits of using me, actually, because if you get stuff printed, you've got to have it 2 weeks before because of the print turnaround time. But actually, if you book me, then I do it last minute.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good question.
There we go.
With the palettes and mirrors and the big items, like Poppy and Chris's wedding, there was that palette, or there was a gate?
There was a gate.
There was a gate on that one.
Wow. The gate was used to put the table plan on. I did the table plan on paper that we pegged to the gate. I love stuff like that because it was a gate from the farm that they lived on, that they owned, that they had their wedding breakfast at. So yeah,
and it meant something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, love
So
that.
with the big items, do you provide the mirrors or do you provide the mirrors?
Oh, well, I can.
Okay.
I've got quite a collection. I don't think my husband knows quite how many mirrors I've got.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Any of my little things, I'm like, shh,
Don't tell. It's fine.
it's for work. It's for
Absolutely,
work.
it's for work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got quite a collection of mirrors actually,
Okay.
and various little bits to hire, because I kind of started off by collecting them because I love a mirror anyway, and then I just thought, well, why don't I let people have these? Because actually mirrors are really expensive to buy.
Yeah.
If you want a nice one,
Yeah.
you're talking 75 quid at least to buy a nice big mirror.
And then they've got to get it to you
yeah,
for you to be able to put the
Yeah.
things on it. You've then got to store it anyway until, yeah, you might as well
Absolutely.
have them.
So yeah, so I hire them out. So and they work perfectly. But I can write on people's mirrors. I've had people
Bring them to you.
deliver
Yeah.
their mirrors to me. If you've got, some people have got really really ornate mirrors, you know, in their houses above their mantelpiece or something like that, or at their mum's house. Just swipe it for the week,
Yeah.
and I can write on it. And what I love about it is that it's reusable.
Yes.
You know, it's something that you can, well, I have had a couple keep theirs actually. Their table plan is still on their wall in their bedroom because it was a floor length mirror, and it's still on there, and they get ready into their table plan every morning.
That's so sweet.
But yeah, you can reuse it. It cleans off really, really easily. And I love that, how I am trying to be more sustainable. I'm trying to be really conscious of stuff like that. So if you can reuse it, that's a big tick in my book.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I imagine people don't reuse pallets, do they? Generally, do they tend to keep those?
People, I mean, a pallet's quite nice to put in your garden, I think. So like a welcome sign on a pallet is quite nice. I did a wedding just recently actually, and I've taken the pallets back because what I can do is I can sand them down and reuse them.
Oh, great.
So I gave them the option of keeping them, but I said to them, you know, look, if you are just going to throw this away,
Let me know.
I may as well have it because I can reuse it.
Yeah.
So and they did just that. They kept the welcome sign, but I took the order of the day and the table plan back, so I can reuse them.
Lovely.
I've just thought of another bit of writing.
Oh, go on.
There we go.
Order of service in a church.
Yes, I do those,
There
and
you
I'm
go.
starting to do venue illustrations as well. So,
Okay.
so that looks really cool on the front, especially, you know, of the church on
Yeah,
the front
yeah.
of the order of service. That looks really nice.
Or Harlexton. So that would look good, wouldn't it?
Harlexton. I
Yeah.
love Harlexton Manor so much. It's so beautiful there, isn't it?
So, what is your favourite item to do? You know, something about your mirrors and things like that. But if you could just pick one thing, what is your favourite?
Shopping list
Yeah,
to write. I'm guessing.
that's it. Yeah.
Do all of your shopping
More
lists.
mirrors.
Look, amazing.
I know this is really sad, but it's actually the mirrors. I don't know what it is about them. I think that they look beautiful, and they can look really, they can kind of go in lots of different venues. I've had barn weddings that have had a mirror, and I've also had like really sort of stately home type weddings that have a mirror. I really like those. Again, reusable, you know, I can't sort of stress that enough. I think it's such a great idea to be able to reuse things.
Yours is the mirror at Presswold Hall. That's
Yes.
their welcome sign.
Their welcome sign at Presswold is done by me, yes.
Is that their mirror or your mirror?
That's their mirror.
Okay.
Their mirror. They had the mirror, and I wrote on it. So yeah, that's not on a sort of permanent hire.
See, as a photographer, and probably you as a videographer as well, I have a love-hate
Yes,
relationship
absolutely.
with
I
signage
hardly
on mirrors.
ever get photos of my mirrors from
I walk in
photographers
and I'm
because
like,
of that, and you're like, oh no.
There's a mirror, but if they're done well, they are beautiful, and I can totally see like the love behind them and the reasoning for them.
But the reflection
But-
is horrendous. But it's such a cool selfie moment for
Oh,
the
yeah,
guests
yeah,
as well.
it is.
It looks
100%,
it looks
yeah.
super cool.
See, I've learned to adapt. For a mirror table plan,
Yeah.
the shot I really like is sort of across the side of it.
Yes.
And if I can time it right, and normally somebody does,
Yeah.
if I can time it right, I'll just get a hand that comes in and points at themselves,
Yes,
and I like the meeting of their own fingers.
finger.
So that
that's
I
so
like that
cool.
shot. That, you can do that, or you can do. I quite like the couple in a reflection.
That's what I like. Yes.
But
That's hard to do.
it's hard to do because I would want to do a focus pull from the text through to the couple and back again. That's hard to nail because nearly always there's a random groomsman just steps across the view because they don't realise that
If I go to the venues on the morning, I always try and take a video of it or a photo.
Yeah.
And the amount of times that I've just crept it and I'm in the reflection again.
That when I do weddings when I've got like really bright hair, I love it because I'm like, oh no, I'm not in it at this angle. Whereas when I've got like the blonde top to it, I don't know I'm in it until I'm editing. I'm like, oh,
I'm in the mirror.
But when it's really bright, I'm like, no, yes.
They're really difficult to photograph.
Yeah.
I have had to because they're shown on my website, but without any writing on them, so you can just see them for what they are.
Yeah.
But I did have to have them photographed in a studio
Yes.
with a white background and a white foreground. And the photographer, I think, hated me for that but I mean, the photo's pretty good though. But I think she had a bit of a nightmare taking pictures
had like
of
a bit of a meltdown.
I think she was like, "Oh, please don't ever bring me any more mirrors."
Although, have you seen like on Facebook Marketplace, you know when people are selling mirrors?
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite things
There's
ever.
a Twitter feed.
When
People selling mirrors is a Twitter feed.
When it's
when they've got their reflection and they're probably sat there in their pants.
When they're like nothing on and like it's just the funniest thing and it's like, you do know what mirrors do, don't you?
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Honestly, I love it.
That's hilarious. I have to say, I do like really funky paper as well. I'm a bit of a paper geek. Like, my sample books are massive, and I do love a bit of nice paper. So I like coming up with different ideas on place cards and things like that to give it a pop of colour. I do 2 types of calligraphy as well. I do nib calligraphy.
Two types?
Yes, there are 2. There are 2.
What?
2 types of modern calligraphy. There's nib calligraphy and there's brush calligraphy. So you can do it with a pointed nib, which kind of looks a bit like a fountain pen, but it's flexible. So this lines kind of go from thick to thin as you're adding pressure. Sorry, I'm getting a bit geeky now.
No, do it.
But nib calligraphy is very small because you're restricted by the size of the pen. So you're probably going to do something that's round about handwriting size that you'd normally do. So it's very delicate, quite elegant.
Sounds like me. Why laughing?
I mean, well, I'm not
rude.
No. Don't put words in my mouth. I tend to do a lot of that because it's quite, it's a bit neater, you have a bit more control. I'm getting more and more into brush, which is done literally with a paintbrush. So you can go quite a lot bigger. You don't get as delicate work, but it looks really fun. And
do you feel a lot freer doing it?
Yes, definitely a lot freer. Yeah, but it's more difficult to control. But you kind of just are like a bit more free with it, really. Yeah.
So to summarise then, if you are a couple looking for any kind of text, font, signage,
Fancy writing,
then look no further than inviting writing. Anyway, so yes, if you're a couple looking for fancy writing, be that on an invite, a place setting, a welcome sign, a order of service, an order of the day sign, a table plan, all the text, everything. Then you can, you can go and buy.
Come to me with your wacky ideas.
You can go and buy off the shelf stuff, but where's the personality in that?
Yeah,
we don't need that. We want it to be more interesting. So speaking
creative. That's what you need to be. Creative.
Yeah. It's an opportunity, isn't it? It's an opportunity to get your personality out there, and
it is really an opportunity to get creative. And if you've got sort of something really that means a lot to you. I don't know why cricket has suddenly come to my mind. I've no idea, but wouldn't it be cool to write a table plan on a cricket bat or on a selection of cricket bats? That would be really cool if you were into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was once actually asked to do a table plan on a motorbike, and unfortunately they never went ahead. But I would love to do that as well.
That would be pretty cool.
It would be.
So yeah, I mean, boring old paper.
Yeah.
Who needs that?
Who needs that?
A4 lined.
So yeah, have a chat with a calligrapher. I said that right?
You have.
Great. Like Vicky from Invited Writing.
Thank you.
Thanks ever so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.